and welcome to Unit 2. In this unit, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the basics on how to use the Smart Notebook software and some of the features included in the new April 2014 version of the new notebook software. It just came out, like I said, this month, April 2014, and there's a lot of great new features, including 3D objects and text recognition, such that you can actually write on the board and it'll convert what you wrote into like Arial or Times New Roman font. But before we get into that kind of advanced stuff, let's start with the basics. So what you want to do is open up Smart Notebook. In my particular case, it's already here on in the bottom area of this dock. So I want to open it up here, and as you'll see, I have several different options available, some of which are grayed out and some of which are available to me. Now, these two buttons up here allow me to go between the previous pages and the next page. This button here allows me to add a new page to my presentation over here. And it works similar to the way PowerPoint might work, except we're not actually making a PowerPoint presentation with animations. We're making it much more interactive that way. This button above the new page is actually an undo button. It allows me to actually get rid of the page I just made right there. And this button next to that is the redo page, or I mean the redo button. This button here allows me to open a file and insert it into my Smart Notebook presentation, whether it be a picture or a video or a chart of some kind or an Excel spreadsheet. And of course, the floppy disk is still in the 21st century ubiquitous for having to save a file. So I'm going to give this a name. Okay, I want to hit save, and now that is the name of my my presentation here. This big button next to all those allows me to do a couple of things. I can make my background on here transparent, so I can write right on the screen. Okay, and it actually gets rid of a lot of the clutter of the notebook itself. It gets rid of all the toolbars and the pages and stuff. So if you want to have a more intuitive and sort of clean environment, you can do that. And some other things here, I won't go through every one of these, but one of the most useful things I use is both the full screen and dual page display. Going full screen allows me to make this page, this white page, blank, such that I can actually write on the board itself. I'll show you what I mean. Now, you'll notice that it took a little bit longer than usual to actually write these words on the screen, and part of the reason for that is because I'm recording this presentation right now, and the QuickTime software is slowing down my computer. But ordinarily, your writing would be real time, and it would just appear as if you're just writing directly onto a ordinary whiteboard. So that is an example of me writing on the smartboard. And of course, if I go back, I can make this either hit escape, or you can go down to the icon where it had the full screen icon again. And I can do a few things with this. See, it's recognizing here that each of these things it thinks is individual objects. I can use my eraser on the actual pen tray, or I can just hit delete. In addition, I can move these things around. Okay, I can rotate them. So these are some of the basic things that you could do with the Smart Notebook, just the writing aspect of it. Okay, and of course the dual page allows me to have two different pages up at the same time. So if I want to write notes on one side, or if I have pictures on one slide somewhere else, I can do that with that particular option established there. I can also go full screen with that as well. So I'm going to go back. to my single page display and continue some of the more exciting features about this whole thing. So I've got a couple of options here that I can paste on here. I can delete objects. If I were to touch on that writing I had done before and touch those buttons, it would, respectively both paste if I had to copy it and also delete it if I wanted to do that. This has a screen shade if I wanted to do that. So if I'm doing like a review with my class and I had problems above the board and I wanted to reveal them slowly, I could do that with a screen shade. So that's one of the options you have there. This would be to insert a table, not unlike what you have in like Microsoft Word, if you're familiar with Apple's Pages. And if you have a document camera, you can have your document camera sort of be right embedded into the actual presentation itself. Of course, I don't have a document camera hooked up to this thing, so I won't actually go that route right now. And the last couple of things here, you have a couple of measurement tools. You have a ruler that you can access if you wanted to do some math problems and show scale or teach young kids how to use a ruler, for example, even in like first or second grade. You can do that. You can measure distances, and the days of the overhead projector rulers that have to be clear and see-through are pretty much over, and you can make this as big or as small as you need to. I'm going to delete this here. And the last thing, which I won't click on right now, is the Smart Exchange, which is the smart hub of all the different lessons and widgets and all kinds of either smart created or user created content that people can then share amongst each other, like games and presentations and things like that. So if you're looking for some information or some ideas to get you started with some of your first lessons, definitely check out Smart Exchange. This big button here shows you a couple of add-ons, and in this case, we can add different things that like alignments, for example, kind of like you do in Microsoft Word when you're aligning text, for example. So you have shapes. We can add different kinds of shapes, whether it be simple shapes or more complex. The paint bucket, of course, will tell us and show us we can add different colors to the background. So if I wanted to make the background green, I could select green and simply just sort of click on that, whether I want to use my laptop itself or the smartboard itself. I can do either one of those two things and make the background different colors. Now, whenever you want to move around objects that you created, make sure you're using the arrow tool, because otherwise you'll be continually adding the same object that you had before. So it's important that you're selecting the appropriate tool for the thing that you want to do. So the paint bucket, of course, can turn objects that you create on the screen and change them into different colors. The eraser, again, I can use the one on my pen tray, or I can use, having this right here, which, of course, one thing to keep in mind, though, is that erasers don't actually erase objects. So it only erases text. If you want to get rid of the object itself, you have to go back to the arrow. You have to click on it, and you simply hit delete. And we have a line tool here, a text tool here, And these are the different kinds of pens that are available to you. So by clicking this little arrow here, we have a regular pen, a calligraphic pen, crayon, highlighter, text pen, creative pen, paintbrush, magic pen, and shape recognition pen. So to begin from the bottom, the shape recognition pen allows me to draw a square, and it'll recognize that it's in fact a square and actually round or straighten my edges for me. The magic pen allows me to write on the board, and over the course of a few moments, it'll actually go away. So this is what I mean. So you can see the difference between the regular pen and the magic pen. The first one is, of course, the regular pen that does not have any kind of special adaptations to it. The magic pen, after a few seconds, disappears. So if you want to keep your kids on their toes when taking notes, that's a great way to save yourself from constantly erasing, and also to make sure that folks are paying attention to what you're, in fact, putting on the board. So that is the conclusion of this part of the basics of Notebook. The second part of this unit will be talking about the add-ons and the integration of pictures, files, videos, and other attachments.